existing bike lane in Marikina. Refurbished not simply to improve on the looks, but to make it more functional, to serve its purpose for mobility, meaning we could connect home where people work, where people study, where they could access essential services. This is primarily what we intend to do with the bike lane system for Marikina City. Bike lane system in Marikina City has existed in the past 25 years. It was overtaken already by some developments and priorities of the city, and we would like to reestablish our priorities. We are not simply revisiting our program for the bike lane in Marikina, but we would like it to be more functional and to best serve the need for mobility of our people. The plan of the government really is to listen to people using bicycle and to follow the needs that they would be able to define for us in the government.
Dito po sa lungsod ng San Juan, kami po ay gumawa ng mga paraan upang manatiling ligtas ang mga nagbibisikleta. At kami po ay nag-set up ng isang bike route kung saan merong mga bollards at may mga bike lanes po ang mga dadaanan ng nagbibisikleta. So meron hong mga kalye, yung mga mas malalapad, kung saan meron tayong mga bollards na sinetup, meron na pintura yung mismong bike lanes natin. So naglunsad po kami ng bike lanes dito sa lungsod ng San Juan noong buwan ng Hunyo, kasabay po ng World Bike Day celebration. At ito ay ating ginawa upang bigyan ng proteksyon ang mga nagbibisikleta, lalong-lalo na po ng panahon ng kasagsagan ng ECQ sapagkat talagang limitado po ang public transportation natin. So ito po ay nagsilbing hudyat ng mas malalaking programa para sa ating lungsod patungkol sa pagbibisikleta. At nakita po natin pagkatapos ng halos 5 o 6 na buwan ay mas marami na pong nagbibisikleta sa ating lungsod at marami na rin po tayong sinimulang mga programa patungkol sa pagbibisikleta at patungkol sa kaligtasan ng lahat po ng gumagamit ng ating mga kalye. Siyempre kasama dyan yung mga nagbabike. Ako'y ngayon nagpapasalamat sapagkat napili po ang San Juan bilang Gold Awardee ng Mobility Awards at ito'y isang pagkilala na tunay na nagbibigay ng inspirasyon sa amin. At dahil dito, lalo naming papag-igtingin ang ating bike lanes at bike system. Inaaral natin ngayon yung ating mga ibang secondary roads na pwede din nating lagyan ng bike lanes. And more importantly, is yung connectivity natin sa ibang lungsod. Tayo po ay nadalaw na ng MMDA at mismo si General Manager Jojo Garcia nagsabi na gusto nga nila gayahin yung ginawa nating bike lanes dito sa EDSA. And I'm also coordinating with Mandaluyong and Pasig para yung bike lanes natin sa Ortigas Avenue ay mag-connect sa kanilang mga lungsod. Tayo makikipagpulong din sa Quezon City at sa Manila sapagkat sila po ang mga lungsod na kapitbahay natin. Na kung magkaroon tayo ng isang network ng bike lanes among the 17 local government units in Metro Manila, maganda po ito sapagkat kahit saan ka, pwede nang abutin o puntahan ang iba't ibang lungsod sa pamamagitan ng pagbibisikleta.
So ever since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, the city has been working on passing ordinances and developing infrastructure plans to be more friendly to cyclists within the city jurisdiction. What Pasig City is working on going forward is really about making our streets friendlier, not just to cyclists, but also to pedestrians, to seniors, PWDs, and children, and everybody using any of the mobility infrastructure in the city. We are really trying to develop a focus on, number one, road safety, but also engaging populations that were previously underserved by different parts of transportation policy. So in addition to making our roads safer through the expansion of our bicycle lane network and the provision of bicycle parking and as well as speed control devices on our roads, we're also working on soliciting more input and proactively getting feedback from groups such as not just mobility advocacy groups, but also groups representing senior citizens, persons with disabilities, and parents caring for young children. If we want to make our cities bike-friendly, or I think what every city in the Philippines needs to realize is that you have to first really accept that this is something that's possible. So we should not think of bike-friendliness as being out of reach for the Philippines, and we shouldn't be limited by past experiences. I think the most important thing for cities in the Philippines is to believe that a better world for cyclists and pedestrians is possible.
Okay, good morning. Good morning sa ating lahat. Magandang umaga, naimbag na adlaw, maayong buntag, kag maayong aga sa atong tanan. So hope you're all having a great day today. My name is Celine Tabinga and I am the Mobility Awards Coordinator, and I'm also part of the Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities. And joining with me today as moderator is Mr. Red Constantino. Sir Red.
Good morning, Celine. Good morning sa lahat. I'm also a colleague of Celine's Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities, or ICSC. Welcome po sa inyo lahat sa first episode natin ng Moving Towards Mobility. This is a webinar series organized by the Mobility Award. Alam niyo po, 2 weeks ago, we officially launched the nationwide leg of the Mobility Awards. And we opened the nominations already for the most bike-friendly cities, workplaces, and commercial establishments outside of Metro Manila. And the response is so far really great, heartwarming, and marami po kaming may babahagi sa inyo today as we continue with the program. So please stay tuned. Back to you, Celine.
Yes, thank you, Sir Red. If you could show the slides for, so far we have already around more than 50 nominations coming in from the public. And in just 2 weeks, we already have 9 cities competing for the most bicycle-friendly city in the Philippines. And so far we have Dagupan City, Tagaytay, Naga, Lucena, Masbate, Danao City, Iloilo City, Puerto Princesa City, and Cebu City. Now we also have, next slide please, 6 commercial establishments na nominate na. So far we have Philinvest Mimosa Leisure City in Angeles, Pampanga. We also have Winnie's Store in Busay, Cebu, and Oak Ridge Business Park in Cebu City as well. And then we also have Turney Biker Shop in Dipolog City, and also Father Saturnino's Urios University and SMCT Butuan in Butuan City. And for the workplaces, so far we only have 1 nominated, which is in Cebu, the Cebu IT Park. Hopefully we will have more, and we hope na more people will be nominating for more bike-friendly workplaces in the coming weeks.
That's right, Celine, tama yun, ano? And of course, throughout the program, we'll be encouraging all our viewers and all our guests, our panelists today, composed of very distinguished people, encouraging them in particular to encourage their cities to make sure that deserving workplaces, workstations are actually nominated too. No? Kasi hindi lang ito business or LGUs. We want to make sure that workplaces that actually care for their own employees, for their own staff, by providing different services that encourage cycling, commuting, are actually recognized by the Mobility Awards throughout the country in this year's leg. So salamat sa update, Celine. For all of you, in particular, who have not yet nominated your bike-friendly city, commercial establishment, or workplace, don't forget, visit mobilityawards.ph or bit.ly/MA nomination now. Submit your nominations na. You can still nominate those mentioned today. Wala pong limit yan, only nominations, which actually help the businesses or cities or workplaces that you nominate. If there's more, and you can include photos, reasons why you think they deserve recognition, and you will see other entries as well. And today you'll hear a lot more stories about what everyone is doing to help one another during this particularly trying period of the pandemic, but also in a way that moves our country forward by focusing on active mobility. We still have a lot of time on our hands, and nominations will end only on November 5. Matagal pa po. And winners will be announced also a month later, almost a month later on November 25. So please keep the nominations going. Celine, back to you.
Yeah. Yes, please send some love to your favorite establishments and your employees if bike-friendly workplace kayo, and of course to your cities. So before we move forward with today's webinar, we just have a few reminders for everyone. Next slide, please. So for our viewers in Facebook, please type in your questions in the comment section, and we'll be answering them in our open forum later this morning. So after the discussion, we will have an open forum. So please maglagay lang po kayo ng comments nyo and questions. And if you have some insights and reactions, we would love to hear about them. And we would also like to inform everyone that this session would be recorded for documentation purposes. So yeah, Sir Red, siguro we could start that discussion.
Tuloy na natin. Definitely, a mobility revolution is underway, and we've said this during the launch. It's been affirmed, repeated, even emphasized, probably even more by our esteemed colleagues in government. This revolution is underway. It's picking up speed, and it will only become irreversible if we all add our efforts behind this process where citizens are actually doing what they can, including with business, including with government, working together to transform active mobility into what it truly is, a mainstream transportation option, not alternative, mainstream. Alam niyo po, in 2020, amid the threat of COVID-19 and amid the restrictions the pandemic has brought to our movement, mobility across the country, the National Economic Development Authority, or NEDA, noted that bicycle imports in the Philippines amounted to 2.1 million bicycles, meaning dumoble po, doble compared to the 1 million bicycles imported in 2019. This does not count the actual bicycles already in the country, and probably those that are manufactured domestically. The increase in demand was also reflected in two separate bike counts done in 2020 and 2021. Last year, the Metro Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, recorded over 100,000 cyclists across EDSA. Yung record po nila na 100,000 was based on a very limited count, a limited time of the day, in only very limited intersections. So the 100,000 they counted is a gross underestimate, we believe. This year naman, led by volunteers, civil society, and 4 city governments, in particular Pasig, Juan, Marikina, and Quezon City, did a bike count together, simultaneous. In just 4 hours, ang na-record nila, in only 4 hours, approximately 39,000 cycling commuters were recorded across 32 locations across those 4 cities in only 4 hours. The numbers are actually mirroring what the majority of the Filipino people are demanding and expecting. And that sends a good signal to everyone, including the ones who aspire for elective office next year. And I hope they can continue to listen to the majority, because the majority are not private car-owning people or households. No, the majority are commuters. Tingin mo, Celine.
Yes, sir. Actually, that's right. And not only that, but the social weather stations, or SWS survey, released in the last quarter of 2020 that 87% of Filipinos want public transport, cycling, and pedestrians to be prioritized over private vehicles. So more Filipinos are calling for further development in the country's public transportation system. And so this is very different from what is reflected in the Ambition Natin 2040 plan of the Philippine government, which states na to live a comfortable life, Filipino families must own at least one car. So definitely po, the tides have shifted and there's more evidence na shows that majority of the Filipinos are calling for better transport options.
Tama yun, Celine, ano? And in fact, when the first survey of Ambition 2040 was first announced, the results, mobility was one of the first things that we questioned, because we felt that if you unpack the survey results even more, the outcomes might be even more specific. For example, in terms of housing, the result was a preference to own houses, supposedly. But I think Filipinos want reliable, accessible shelter, not necessarily to own, but they want something that's actually stable that would provide them shelter as well. And in that survey, the subsequent study showed that it's not really cars that they want, but mobility that's predictable and reliable. And that number coincides as well with what we're seeing now on the roads. It's a rebellion, but it's also a celebration of who we are and what we have and the future that we want, rather than the past that we are trying to leave behind. So very clearly, Filipinos want a change in our movement, and we choose how to move based on the options that are available to us, not necessarily privately owned cars, which represent a minority of our population. And ironically, over the last few decades, our infrastructure and development has focused on the needs of the minority. That is already changing rapidly. And the more we show the different businesses, LGUs, and workplaces, their efforts to put together something that is more responsive to the needs of the majority, the faster that we will see progress. We still have a long way to go to be truly bike and pedestrian friendly, but we've made a good start. So I think it's time to introduce our speakers.
Yes, sir. But before, alam niyo po ba na this September 22 is actually World Car Free Day? Yeah. So happy World Car Free Day sa ating lahat. And we are lucky today to be joined and to celebrate World Car Free Day with bike advocates from different parts of the Philippines to talk about how we can make our roads safer and healthier for cyclists and pedestrians. So without further ado po, let me first introduce Ms. Maria Cristina Antonio, or you can call her Tina for short. Ms. Tina is a young social entrepreneur and communications professional known for her progressive community leadership in the tourism sector in her region. She has over 10 years of community building experience and 5 years of corporate brand and marketing experience. She is actively involved in bridging community members, organizations, both in the private and public sector, and effectively pushes for opportunities for collaboration. She is currently the elected president of San Juan Resort Restaurant Hotel Association in San Juan, La Union, where she represents the tourism stakeholders in tourism projects in the municipality. She works together with private, non-government, and public organizations to promote sustainable tourism, which includes sustainable mobility. Hello, Ms. Tina. Magandang umaga po.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Thank you
Thank you for
thank you for the introduction. Ako nga po si Tina Antonio, and I'm currently the elected president of San Juan Resort Restaurant Hotel Association. And the past 4 years, we've done a lot of efforts to coordinate with yung government partners and also the community. So yung work namin dito is all about coordination and collaboration. So can I share my screen? Can I have access to share screen, please?
Baka Tina, we'll complete all the speakers
Okay.
first,
Perfect.
and then we can show the slides right after.
Okay.
So thank you, Tina. We are really excited to hear your words right after we introduce all the speakers. Thank you for having us as your part of your day today, because everyone wants to also know what's happening in La Union. So welcome. The next speaker naman, introduce ko. He is Dominic Nobleza. He's a community organizer for Metro Naga Active Transport Community and a junior staff at Move as One Coalition. Currently, he is a volunteer at Tarabangan Contra COVID-19, a nonpartisan civil society group seeking to collaborate to strengthen Metro Naga and Camarines Sur's coronavirus response and recovery efforts. He enjoys biking as a form of exercise and as a way to distress, especially during this pandemic. Magandang araw, Dominic. Kamusta kayo dyan?
Magandang araw naman po. Okay naman po. Maganda yung panahon at okay yung pagbabike dito ngayon sa Naga. Hindi naman kami binabagyo sa panahong ito.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sige, that's good to know, Sir Dominic, na you're safe today. Siguro, joining us today po, just to introduce our next speaker, from Cebu is Sir Elizar Sabina Jr. He is the program coordinator for Cebu Leads Foundation, a non-stock, non-profit, and multi-sector coalition organized by a group of private sector leaders and organizations advocating for positive change, good governance, and the livability of Cebu. Being an urban planner, Sir Elizar has been a strong advocate for sustainable development, and he is also a board member representing the civil society sector of the Cebu Bike Lane Board. And he is also a lead convener for the Cebu Tactical Urbanism Movement, which is a group of architects and urban planners promoting for more public and open space for Cebu. Welcome, Sir Elizar. Kamusta po kayo?
Mayong buntag, everybody. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for the invitation, and it would be good sharing my thoughts and ideas with other cities and with you guys. Good morning once again.
Thank you, Sir Elizar. Siguro before we proceed with introducing our next speaker, next slide please. We want to keep this engagement as active as possible with you guys. So if let's play a quick game and win a chance and get a chance to win a Mobility Awards shirt and face mask as you're seeing in your screens. So the question would be, name 3 features of a bicycle-friendly workplace in the comments section. And the best answer will be the winners. We will pick 5 top answers later. So please stay tuned po as we will announce po kung sino yung mapipili later. Thank you,
Okay.
Sir Red.
Okay, Celine, alam mo ang contest mahalaga at saka maganda yung mga awards. So, could you repeat again, ano ang kailangan nilang gawin para siguradong may mananalo ng mga giveaways natin today? One more time.
To win a Mobility Award shirt and face mask, mag-comment lang po kayo in the comment section ng 3 features of a bicycle-friendly workplace. So that could be from your experience if your workplace have, for example, bike racks or shower rooms dedicated for cyclists and such facilities. So please comment down below lang your answers para po mapanalunan itong beautiful Mobility Awards merchandise. Limited edition lang po ito.
Okay. Salamat, Celine. So please get the comments going and we'll pick our top answer soon and we'll also be announcing sinong nanalo. There will be a lot of time for discussions later but it's very important to introduce everyone first, the speakers. Ang next natin si Councilor J. Treñas of Iloilo City. He's a man of many advocacies. Apart from being the president of the Philippine Councilors League or PCL, siya rin ay chairman of the Committee on Appropriations and Committee on the Urban Poor in Iloilo, Human Rights and Minority Groups. He's also the chairperson of the Committee on Urban Planning, Housing and Land Development, which is why it's very important that he is in his position. And it's no wonder also that I think he's a 3-termer councilor because precisely of his direct experience on cycling as a commuter as well. He also covers, as part of that committee, zoning and expropriation, assessment and land acquisition. And apart from being a bike advocate, he's also an animal rights champion. Councilor J is one of the champions for active transport in Iloilo, and he has been putting forward bike-friendly ordinances and resolutions such as Ordinance Number 2014-193, an ordinance that requires government and non-government buildings to provide safe and secure bike parking. He also pushed for the establishment of bike lanes in national roads within Iloilo City, as well as the University Loop or U-Loop bicycle bike lane in Molo, Iloilo City, among others. We'll have a chance to ask Councilor Tenyas more of this later, but for now, maganda umaga po, Councilor J. Kamusta po kayo?
Good morning, Sir Red, and good morning, Lynn. We're very okay here in Iloilo, and thank you for having me.
Yep. The previous speakers na introduce namin, if you can just turn on your videos shortly, because before I read some of the comments and greetings that are coming in from Facebook, unahin ko siguro muna si Councilor J. Alam niyo po, Konsehal, food is very close to everyone, and of course, all the cities, all the places that we've mentioned are known very much for their delicacies. For trivia lang, dahil ako rin po ay cycling commuter, if I ever find myself walking around or cycling around Iloilo, saan nyo po i-recommend ako makakuha ng pinakamahusay na batchoy?
Mahusay na batchoy. Wow, that's a big debate.
Grabe siguro yung debate niya sa Iloilo. Pero
medyo mahirap yan. If I had a preference, batchoy naman, there's a different way of cooking it in some areas. In La Paz, of course, I would definitely recommend that you bike Sir Red to La Paz, La Paz Plaza, where batchoy was born. And you can use that's why it's called La Paz batchoy. It was invented in the district of La Paz, and I would suggest, if for you to build more appetite to try another bowl of batchoy, my friend who is a bike advocate also in Santa Barbara, which is connected by the longest protected bike lane in Benigno Aquino, which is an elevated cycle track. Connects directly from Iloilo City, and it would go straight to the airport in Santa Barbara, where they have a different twist on batchoy, and along the way you can see different delicacies like bayi-bayi, and of course, because we have tried to interconnect the bike lanes, marami po kayong madadaanan. You will see a lot of food. We're known for our food here in Iloilo City, kaya medyo we've been pressured to go cycling para pumayat, especially during this pandemic. Everyone has been
guilty pagkatapos ng 2 bowl na 3 bowl ng batchoy.
Yes, Sir Red, and you can see a lot of people are biking, and that's the one problem din na sinasabi ng mga bikers. Yung malakas talagang magbike, malaki yung tiyan kasi maraming na stops na kumain.
Okay. I want to ask something similar. Pag ako napunta naman, napadyak ako at napadpad ako sa Naga, saan ako pupunta, Dominic?
Madaming kinalasan dito. So, kung halimbawa upland sa may Isarog, madaming kinalasan doon. Talagang yun yung go-to ng mga ng mga siklista dito sa amin. So, but ako personally, ang gusto ko, kasi usually nasa sentro lang naman ako nagbabike, yung kay Chakamot. So, yan yung pupuntahan mo. Yan yung isa sa mga pinakamasarap dito na kinalasan. Mura lang. Chakamot yung pangalan.
Okay, napadpad mula Iloilo, pumadyak punta Naga, umabot ako ng Cebu. Ano bang pasalubong, anong pagkain na una ko dapat hinahanap kung first time ako napadyak at naglanding ako sa Cebu? Elizar.
Good question, Sir Red. I think everyone knows this. No? If you go to Cebu, we have the best lechon in the country. So you can come here in Cebu, guys. We have the House of Lechon anywhere in Metro Cebu. We have CNT and a lot of things, no? Aside from lechon. Also try our hanging rice, or we call it puso, which is a good combination of lechon.
Napapa-thumbs up si Councilor Treñas. Parang yung suggestion din ni Dominic, mapapapadyak tayo ng Usto dahil lahat ay nakakabusog, pampaligaya, no? Sa La Union, sa San Juan, diretso ba kami ng beach o meron pa kami pwedeng hanapin kung mahilig kami kumain? Kung si Celine napunta doon, na pumadyak at naglanding bukas, anong hanapin niya, Christina?
Okay. So, maraming offerings dito maliban dun sa mga bagong restaurants. Yung usually na kinakain dito is pinakbet and dinengdeng. So, gulay talaga siya. Also, may bagnet dito. And then, maraming masarap dito eh. Pero if there's one thing that you do have to bring home is yung ano namin tuyo sa Damortes. Iba siya dun sa tuyo ng Cebu, iba yung processing niya. Pero masarap din yung tuyo ng Cebu, favorite ko. Gusto ko na. Yun yung isa mga huli kong napuntahan. But yes, dinengdeng. So if you want gulay trip, usually yung inuuwi ng bisita namin when they come here is actually fresh vegetables. Kasi yun yung mura dito na mahal sa Manila. So, live healthy, buy vegetables here.
Okay. So kung kayo ay naglalaway dito sa ating program, ang sisisihin natin yung ating panelists kasi nakakagutom sila magkwento, pero it's all about active mobility, no? So that's what Filipinos do. We enjoy, but we also enjoy burning off our calories, but also by using one of the most reliable means of transport as well. So thank you, Christina, Elizar, Dominic, and Councilor J. Treñas, our last speaker to introduce. Isama nyo na rin po kung pwede yung aspects ng food. Ikaw naman, Selena, mag-introduce na sa ating kasama mula Davao yata.
Yes, Davao. Before, siguro tanungin ko si Ms. Narisa tungkol sa pagkain. Ms. Narisa Caballada, sorry, is part of the United Cyclists Association, or UNICAS for Wow. Ms. Narisa is a business owner and a senior student of Human Resource Management at the University of Immaculate Conception in Davao City. She is the secretary of UNICAS, and she bikes during weekends far away from their city. So the longest ride she had was 224 kilometers in one way. So saan ka pa? So kamusta, Ms. Narisa? Kamusta po kayo?
Okay lang po, ma'am.
Ms. Larissa, itatanungin ko lang din po kung ano po yung staple delicacies in Davao na you could share na dapat hindi ma-miss out ng kahit sinong napadayo doon.
Pomelo at saka durian po, which is famous po dito sa Davao po.
Yeah, opo. Ms. Narisa, saan po kayo nag-ride nung 224-kilometer bike ride niyo po? If you could share.
Sa Governor Generoso po, sa Parola.
Oh, wow. Sige po. Thank you, Ms. Narisa, for sharing. Before po tayo magpatuloy, Sir Red, if we could greet a few viewers po today.
Tama ka dyan, Selena, no? Yung colleagues natin mula sa League of Cities sa Pilipinas, no? In the Philippines, Executive Director Veronica Hitosis and Soleil Manzano. Regional partners all over the country who are watching us now also. Maraming salamat for tuning in. Hello from magandang umaga from Ani Calma from Butuan City, Marisol D. Good morning daw, watching from Butuan. Si Christine Galang watching from Quezon City. Good morning din sa iyo. From Firth, watching from Pampanga, magandang umaga. Shardy of Manila, good morning din sa iyo. Emoji Padjak greetings from Erwin Padilla, bike to work, of course. I think that's it for now, including habol pa si Ramon Christopher Mallorca, Manero. Greetings from Polomolok, South Cotabato. Yon. Celine, back.
Yes, sir. Yep. Without further ado po, let's start the conversation. Let's get the conversation going. And siguro po, we could have Miss Tina first to share with us po the bike, as a bike advocate, and ano po yung mga initiatives in San Juan, La Union.
Okay. So I'll share a short presentation of what we've been doing here. Medyo last minute, so I'll only share a few slides, but we'll explain it na lang. Okay. Okay. So our association, San Juan Resort Restaurant Hotel Association, it's more of a homeowners association siya, really community-based. And all of our members are mostly small business owners. And so far, we've been really coordinating with multiple government partners as well. So from the provincial government to the local San Juan government, of course, Department of Tourism, and the other government partners like DENR, DPWH as well. Kasi one of the things that we've noticed here, the biking community here, even before biking became a thing in Manila because of the pandemic, meron na talagang bike community here. One of the reasons is because onti lang yung parking spaces. Very limited. So, since a lot of the areas are walkable, wala masyadong traffic except for the city of San Fernando, people tend to either commute via bus, via jeep, or bike, or also carpooling. So it's a culture here talaga. Okay. So we also have multiple allied organizations. So pag San Juan, pag La Union, the first thing that comes into mind is surfing. So also it's a tourism area. So one of the things that is being discovered is yung tourism-related bike route. So from San Juan, you can go to Bacsil, for example, or to Baguio via bike. And one thing that we have been doing and coordinating with these multiple organizations is yung bike pit stops. Kasi ang haba nung biyahe. And usually, if you bike na travel, you have to have at least a pit stop every 30 minutes to, number one, refill your water bottle. And number two, eat. Of course, kailangan hindi ka, I mean, it's really a health issue for us yung sa biking because kailangan kompleto yung pit stops. Kung hindi, delikado ka health-wise. You might be dehydrated, may hilo ka, and of course yung heat stroke, mainit yung kalye, di ka naman naka-aircon. So that's one thing that we have been doing. This is a list of our officers. In terms of membership, so a lot of the members, we have a total of 100 establishment owners, and about 70% of them already have biking facility. So usually meron silang parking inside the establishment. We're also talking with pit stops like yung Caltex and Petron, for example, to have bike parang tool sheds so that people who are using bikes can repair their bikes in those parang maintenance centers. Okay. Of course, we have other alliances. It's not just San Juan when we're looking at bike routes, it's the total of La Union, which is why we have multiple stakeholders because I handle San Juan lang, but with the bike route, we are talking with the whole of La Union in terms of business groups. And this is a private effort. I'm not in politics. I don't plan to be in politics ever, but I want to be a partner, a private partner. So one thing that we've actively been doing is lobbying. And I really recommend this for all the cities as good citizens. Government partners, they want to hear from us. So it's really good if you, number one, talk with your barangays, talk with your mayors, for example, and then your provincial councilors. Dapat lahat kasi buo siya when you have a good mobile community service. Last week, we had the city of San Fernando had their session here, legislative session here dito sa amin, and they talked about the tricycle routes, which is a really interesting thing because initially they had they made the route so that the tricycles would be the ones to adjust dun sa new routes. But actually, they had a discussion because nagkaroon ng flack yung routes, yung tricycle routes. And right now, they're discussing that maybe it's about time that it's private vehicle owners that are actually adjusting the routes instead of the commuters. So it's a discussion, it's an ongoing debate and discussion in the city of San Fernando. For San Juan, it's pretty clear. Isa lang naman yung kalye namin. And we do have a bicycle route. It's in fact the Philippine National Police that launched the bicycle lane here in San Juan last year. So there. And of course, it's also an environmental issue. One of the things that we are fighting. Hello?
Hello, Ms. Tina. Medyo na-cut off po. 5 seconds ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, there. So let me continue. So there. So we are doing a lot of lobbying here. It's a citizen with government collaboration for us, and it's something that I think every citizen should do because they get a lot of the inputs from the private citizens. Okay. Next is private and public partnerships. So one of the things that we have been doing is really collaboration. In fact, here in La Union, while in other areas of the Philippines, community pantries were being red tagged, in La Union, we actually collaborated with the PNP and other government offices to launch a simultaneous community pantry. It was a fun process, controversial but fun. But it's one thing that we have been doing. Of course, that took a lot of lobbying again. And, okay, coastal cleanups. We did talk about coastal cleanups. In San Juan, it's not just mobility. We did a lot of yung sa trash problem because we've had that for quite a while. And one of the things that we've done is we have created partnerships with multiple stakeholders, including a recycling facility, a private recycling facility to handle the trash collection. Because one of the things that is also eyesore is yung mga basura na nasa bike lanes namin kasi hindi kinokolekta. So it's a really holistic thing, a holistic plan for San Juan. Okay, now with the mobility awards, a lot of us here are focused on both development in terms of DPWH developments, which is why before DPWH's launches projects here, which involves widening roads, for example, and cutting trees, we actively participate in public scoping, number one, and number two, giving our inputs on what to do. Because usually when a project is approved here, it involves just cementing everything. And that's why for San Juan, we really actively participate in public scoping. Bihira lang yung nagra-rally kasi doon pa lang kami sa planning stage, we already try to involve ourselves with the project. And this has been going on for the past 2-3 years. In fact, marami nang naputol na puno because of it. And I think one thing that the Mobility Awards and our group can do is really look at biking and commuting not just as convenience for our commuters but also as an environmental issue. Kailangan holistic din siya because we talk about developing bike lanes, but when we talk to our partners in government, it's mostly just cementing and having a section. But it's actually not just that. It's getting the trees there. Kasi ang init eh. Ang init, mag-bike ka, magko-commute ka. In fact, hindi ako nagbabike. I usually walk here. I have poor coordination, so I don't bike, but I do walk. I don't have a car. So commuter welfare is a big thing here. We are continuously working with our government partners, and I hope that this is something that we can talk about in the future because acting on the street and rallying there with bikes won't do anything. You really have to work with our partners in the government. So that's what we're doing here in San Juan. We're trying to do it. It's actually more of a new thing, working with the government than rallying, of course. Another thing that we've been doing is really trying to represent all the stakeholders, not just the bikers. Tricycles are one of our partners here. They are among the involved and really important livelihood sector that we have here. It's not livelihood, it's a lifestyle for us. We do commute, we take the tricycle, and we are trying to look into the laws revolving our tricycle drivers and our tricycle services here. Currently, this is still ongoing because we don't actually have a tricycle, a legal tricycle area here. May inalot na slots for our tricycles, but the thing is, at the moment, we are still focused on private vehicles. And that's why as a business sector, we are trying to represent also yung tricycle sector in our area. Okay, next. Okay, of course, we do have maliban sa coastal greening, sa tree cutting, we are also doing coastal greening because for us here in San Juan, commuting also involves walking on the beach from point A to point B. So it's really a part of our tourism experience here in San Juan that from your hotel, you walk on the beach to go to the restaurant you want to stay in. And some people do bike on the beach. It's something very normal. And one thing that we do not allow on the beach is motored vehicles. Kasi may mga ibang tao na may mga, ang tawag doon, yung mga vehicles, what do you call that? Basta yung motored vehicles, they bring it to the beach and they use that, I don't know why, but natigil na siya, I think 3 years ago, but it has happened in several areas that people, instead of walking or riding their bikes, they bring their cars to the beach. And I don't know, I think it's a game for them, but there are people like that. So 4 years ago, even the business owners banded up to stop people from bringing their cars on the beach. So there, because not only is it not, it's a commuters, our beach is something for people who commute, really. It's a tourism site as well. And we also have sea turtles here. So that's why we really banned people from using the beach as their road. Weird. Anyway, so that's it. Of course, I don't think this will push through anytime soon, but this is how we used to be. If there is a La Union surfing break in the future, La Union surfing break which is our main annual event held every last week of October, we really promote commuting. Kasi una, konti yung parking space at this period. So starting 2016 when we continued this event, kasi this event has been going on since 2007, we have already been promoting tourists to walk or commute to their location. So the pub crawl when we did La Union Surfing Break is not promoting using vehicles to get around, but actually walking around or using public transportation or using their bikes. So that's it for my presentation. Ito po yung beach namin. So as you can see, we're all connected with the West Philippine Sea and the beachfront. So usually, ito talaga yung lifestyle dito. With or without tourists, we really walk using this beach. So we do hope that we inspire more. Number one, collaboration with our government partners. Number two, we do hope to inspire the private sector, private individuals to work with their local government units. It's a long process, but it's something that gives us more progress than rallying. Although we do have certain things that we rally about, but for us here, it's really working with our local government partners there. Thank you.
Christina, maraming salamat. That was a very enlightening presentation of what La Union offers in San Juan in particular. And for sure, we'll have a couple more questions to ask as well. Dominic, ikaw naman, similar to what Christina had told us, could you walk us through what's happening in your city? What does your organization do? And tell us more about the advocacies that you've been running and whether the city is actually introducing changes similar to what Christina has mentioned, where mobility is at the center. Alam niyo po, ang mahalaga dito sa advocacy natin sa mobility, whether you do rallies or whether you're the ones who man rallies or stay away from them, mobility is something that we all support together with businesses, local governments, national agencies, and civil society. So it's a good chance to unite for a common cause. But Naga, ano nangyayari dyan? Ikaw naman, Dominic. Dominic?
Hello?
Yep.
Hello? Yeah. Can I also share my screen? Saglit lang tong presentation na to.
Yes, please.
Yeah. 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 So, kami po ang Metro Naga Active Transport Community. So, ba't naglalag? So, yan.
Go ahead.
So, alamin, ano ba yung Metro Naga Active Transport Community? So, kami ay isang civil society organization na trying to advocate a better active transportation system, laws, and then infrastructure dito sa Metro Naga at buong probinsya ng Camarines Sur. So, paano namin to ginagawa? So, there are 4 ways that we primarily do this thing. So, number 1, public engagement. Talagang inaalam namin yung pulso ng tao, inaalam namin talaga kung ano yung gusto ng tao, lalong-lalo na ng mga sektor na aming sineserbisyohan. So kasi yung grupo namin as of the moment ay galing sa iba-iba ring sektor. Merong miyembro kami na galing sa business sector, sa academe, sa commuters at sa mga may mga researchers din kami. So tapos pangalawa, ang ginagawa din namin ay nagla-lobby din kami sa mga local government units na nagko-compose ng Metro Naga at ng Camarines Sur upang magkaroon ng mga lokal na ordinansa at mga resolusyon na nagpoprotekta sa ating sa buong active transportation at ating mga pedestrian. So, tapos bukod pa rito, nagkakaroon din kami ng mga pag-aaral o research, mga user experience research upang mas maging data-driven yung mga decision or recommendations na ibibigay namin sa mga different stakeholders. At lastly, kami rin ay nakikipag-partner sa iba-iba pang organisasyon, mga NGOs, national or local man, para mas maging maayos yung active transportation namin. So isa na sa aming pinaka partner talaga nung nagsimula kami last year ay ang Move Us One Coalition at ng Alt Mobility. So hindi lang technical at professional expertise, pati din yung grants minsan nabibigyan din kami. So tulad last year, December 2020, isa sa mga unang partners ng Metro Naga Active Transport Community ay si Gretchen Ho at yung kanyang Donate a Bike, Save a Job. So dito nagkaroon kami ng pagkakataon makipag-work sa kanila through Move Us One, and kami ang tumulong para mag-screen ng 100 recipients na mga frontliners nung December 13, 2020, and hinighlight din namin yung kanilang mga istorya upang pasalamatan yung frontline workers, hindi lang healthcare workers, but yung lahat ng mga nandun sa COVID response natin. So gaya ng mga janitors sa hospital at mga security guards, yun yung mga pinasalamatan natin gawa nitong Donate a Bike, Save a Job. So 100 sila, ka-partner din namin dito yung JCI local chapter dito sa Naga. So isa sa mga natulungan namin ay si Teacher Jaisel. So nung last year, isa siya sa mga teachers na natulungan namin para mag-ehersisyo at mag-distribute ng modules. So yan. At isa sa mga ginagawa din namin for public engagement ay magkaroon ng mga series of webinars upang mas lalo pang magkaroon ng awareness yung mga tao sa patungkol sa active transportation. So gumawa kami ng Metro Naga Active Transport webinar last June, actually June 26 to. So at nagkakaroon kami ng mga lobbying efforts tulad ng amendment ng bike ordinance, yung 2017-030 na bike ordinance. Hindi well represented yung vulnerable sectors like PWDs, like senior citizens, and the business sector, and then other cycling advocates. So yan naipilagay namin dyan, at nagkaroon din ng mga exclusive na oras para sa mga bikers during weekdays and weekend. So during the rush hour. So yan yung pinaka-thankful kami during this year na naipasa. Dahil yan sa pakikipag-communicate namin sa mga tao. At recently, masaya kami kahapon lang na yung problema namin sa pagputol ng puno sa ginagawang road widening project ng DPWH ay napigilan ng Sangguniang Panglungsod ng Naga sa ngayon, dahil mas gusto itong pag-usapan dahil mas nabago na yung perspektibo ng mga aming mga mambabatas na kailangan mas magkaroon ng konsultasyon, mas magkaroon ng people first mindset sa mobility. So hindi lang car-centric mindset. So yun, kasi kasama yung Day Green, We Gray at yung mga research institutions ng Ateneo de Naga at ng ayan, at ang United Architects of the Philippines Commuter chapter. Nagkaroon kami ng proposal sa city government at sa DPWH na include yung active transportation designs base sa DPWH Order 88-2020 na talagang sa paggawa ng road widening projects, include na yung mga specifications na nandoon sa IR na yun, bisa ng DPWH Special Provision 23 ng 2021 GAA. So yeah, so yun lang basically yung pinaka 4 pillars na ginagawa namin. So in the past kasi talaga nagsimula yung community namin last October. So at as marami na rin kaming naging wins, and so far yun yung pinakamasaya doon. At na mabanggit ko rin yung pagiging integrated nito sa COVID response ng Naga City. So masaya ko rin yung binabalita na yung cycling community ay active at sa COVID response dahil meron kaming 4 dapat bikers na siyang talagang lumilibot sa mga business establishments para tingnan yung adherence sa 4 dapat principles, yung always wear face mask, physical distancing, tapos yung air ventilation at yung 30 minutes less na exposures. Ito yung pinakamabilis na paraan yung kung paano mas mapaayos pa. At next naming ginagawa ngayon ay magkaroon ng bike parking sa mga vaccination sites at magkaroon din ng emergency pop-up bike lanes. Lalo pa magkakaroon din kami ng granular lockdown dito simula bukas at yung mga ECQ sa ibang lugar during the weekends. So yan yung basically storya ng Metro Naga Active Transport Community. So napaka-bata pa natin bilang organisasyon at masaya kami na nandyan ang iba-ibang tao at organisasyon na tumutulong at handa kaming matuto pa. At kung meron man kaming nagawa ditong success, we are also willing to share it with the people watching and the people around here.
Maraming salamat, Sir Dominic Nobleza. And thank you so much for sharing the initiatives of Metro Naga Active Transport. Despite na as you said na napaka-young, bata pa yung organization nyo, but definitely ang dami na pong natulungan. And it's very inspiring actually to learn na Naga government is prioritizing and considering po more initiatives for active transport. So I'm sure marami pong tanong, especially sa ating mga viewers for Naga, but let's go ahead and ask naman po Sir Elizar of Cebu. Kamusta po ang sitwasyon dyan sa Cebu?
Thank you for the previous 2 speakers. I learned a lot from you guys, and it's a good experience for us to share experiences. And it's a good learning from me on my end to learn how does other cities does it. And also I'm thankful of the help from the Bukas1 Coalition of really bringing me not just on the level of data, but also the value of policy reforms and also promoting coalition building among the government, which I learned from the first speaker. So basically, for the foundation, the Cebu East Foundation is not just solely focused on active mobility, but a lot more. So would like to share our program, particularly on mobility, Metro Cebu mobility.
Elizar?
Yep, I'm here.
Yep.
Okay. So this is the scope of Cebu East Foundation is not just one city alone. Our scope is really Metro Cebu, which composed of 13 cities and municipalities. Total 7 cities and 6 municipalities as far as the Now City in the north and Carcar City in the south. So would like to share to you guys what had been done by the foundation since last year and until early this year. So basically, just a brief background of Cebu. This is just basically the transportation traffic situation in Metro Cebu. Based on data but by the Japan International Cooperation Agency, we're losing 1.1 billion peso on a daily basis due to traffic. This is a pre-pandemic data. And 79% of Metro Cebu's population are public commuters. 79% of Metro Cebu vehicles are private vehicles. And 10% are allotted for public transportation. 60% are public commuters in Metro Cebu. And Cebu City is number one in terms of traffic generation. We are a total of 3.5 million in Metro Cebu alone, and some data. So this is just some data that I shared to you, and we see this in a Facebook page of Move As One, that if Metro Manila, 70% of commuter dependent on 20%, in Metro Cebu, it's somewhat the same. 60% of Metro Cebu's population are dependent on public transportation, but only 10% public transportation are available on the road. So that you can see now the data, and you can see now the struggle. This is pre-pandemic data. Imagine during the pandemic, public transportation are closed. So what's your means of public commuting? So that's a big question that rise up early last year, And we see this report before, this old man. And if public transportation is insufficient, meaning you will have no choice except walking or cycling. That's why we, in the Cebulis Foundation and other organizations, supported the initiative in promoting cycling in Metro Cebu, not just one city, but looking at it in an intercity dimension. So we did also online surveys about public commuting, and based on the result that we have, even if it's back to normal, would you still continue bicycle commuting or bike commuting? A lot of people say yes, because they find by commuting more effective and efficient if you want to avoid traffic and if you are also saving money. So that's one of the results of our survey that we presented to the different LGUs. This is just some of the recommendations that we presented to Cebu City government since last year. We had presented this 4 times in the council. Some were adopted, some were not, and that's okay, because we're here as a foundation, as an NGO, to really influence the decisions of the government. And this is some initiative in building the agenda itself, in building the need for cycling. We did a Metro Cebu biking readiness portfolio, which covers all Metro Cebu. The basic question is how ready the LGU is in terms of cycling. So basically the interest of the management, the interest of the government, are there any budget, are there any policies? Just really reviewing the current resources that we have. This was made July of last year, June of last year. And that became the basis of the approach why we conducted the Metro Cebu biking webinar in partnership with the Dutch Embassy and Alt Mobility and the Pasig Transport. We see Pasig as a model that we can follow. Then followed by the bicycle workshop, because this is one thing that is missing on the local government units, the capability of coming up with a route network plan, a bicycle route network plan, how to identify it, what are the factors that needs to be considered. And this became valuable to all the local government units, which was attended by not just LGUs, but also NGAs and business groups and even the academy. And a lot of promotion. We have peer talks, we have bike talks, socials, we have talked with Mayor Samsam of Talisay City, we have talked with the chief of staff of Mandaue City about their perspective of cycling. Imagine this is before, last year. And we're also conducting this year. So they're already bike lane. What is your feedback now? So that's the bike talk socials, both in Talisay, Mandaue, and in Cebu City. So this is in promoting bike culture. We meet a lot of people, the Council of Cebu City, the Cebu Bike Lane Board, a lot of international agencies national agencies like the OTR and DPWH, coordination in the regional office, and some initiative on the ground. And fortunately, the government is listening to us and adopting some of our recommendations and our projects. So we became a member of the Cebu Bike Lane Board, which is the mandated office under the Mayor's Office of Cebu City to implement bike lanes and to implement the 2014 Bike Ordinance of Cebu City. We were tapped early this year to represent the civil society sector in Cebu City as member of the board. So this is just some of our accomplishment. We created the Metro Cebu Biking Manual, which we shared to the Metro Cebu LGUs that became the basis of their ordinance, that became their basis on in how they look at bike route network planning, what are the things that needs to consider, what are factors that needs to consider. Also included in the biking manual is the estimate cost of the bollards, the paint, no? So nandun na lahat sa Metro Cebu Biking Manual, and we shared this to them. And a lot of events promoting the cycling itself, no? Because we see when the bike lane was implemented, the utilization is quite low. So we need to encourage everybody to use the bike lane, no? So that's why we have this activity. We call this Sikan Subo. Sometimes it's intra-city. The second event was intercity, where we collaborate with Mandaue City and Cebu City to come up with a biking experience for the entire Metro Cebu. Then a lot of partners that we work with, Juan, Alt Mobility, the Bike Lane Cebu, BTS Plus is not the Korean pop group. It's a group of advocates, biking advocates here in Cebu. We call them Baktas Tindak Society Plus. They promote micromobility lane than bike lane. They prefer calling it micromobility, open it not just but also to all PMDs and all active transportation such as skateboarding. As you know, Cebu is known to be skateboarding city. So that's why that's the promotion of advocacy of BTS Plus. And this is just some of our accomplishment in dealing with the LGUs. We facilitated the Cebu Bike Lane Board bike patrollers. So they were dispatched last month. So their role is really to educate and sometimes enforce the ordinance. But as of now, their role is to be educators. And they will be conducting bike clinics soon, teaching the biking community basic biking etiquettes and how to do slow maneuvering in biking. So this is their training. And this is just some of accomplishment and our review to all LGUs within Metro Cebu, DOH, then Mandaue City, and some of the LGUs within Metro Cebu. So last month we did feedbacking session. This is our first feedbacking session with the biking community online together with the Cebu Bike Lane Board. Basically, question how is our bike lane and what's your comment about the bike lane, even the bike ordinance. So we're now getting comments from the people about the implementation of the bike lanes and the bike lane infrastructure itself, and what are the things that we need more. So again, I would like to reiterate what Dom mentioned, the need to listen to the community, because then again, cycling is not just infrastructure. Cycling really focus on people, giving back the street to people, and which is cycling is one. And right now, today, this is one of our upcoming activities. Mandaue City and Cebu City will be joining the World Car Free Day. There will be a city bike experience. It could be an intra-city, it could be an intercity, and hopefully we'll be conducting the bicycle and pedestrian count also on the same week. That is Cebu City's participation to the World Car Free Day. Because again, we have this bike lane, but we don't have baseline data. How would we know that we are progressing? So we asked them, and I opened this up to the Cebu Bike Lane Board. Okay, guys, we have this bike lane already. We have almost half, 75 kilometers bike lane in Cebu City alone. How would we know that we are progressing? So we need to have data. And lastly, unfortunately, they approved my recommendation, and there is a resolution passed. That's why we can conduct this anytime soon. So we'll be doing a bicycle and pedestrian count hopefully this week and the following week, and also an evaluation of the sidewalk. So we're looking at it in terms of mobility, walking, cycling, and even people on the ground, making use of, because as you know, Cebu City is just a small city. Where all things can be seen in just a 15-kilometer, can be walked, can be cycled in just 15-kilometer radius. So that's what we are promoting in Cebu City in particular, and hopefully other cities will follow. As for initiatives, it's not just Cebulis Foundation who is doing initiatives. We have also partner and other organization who's doing and promoting cycling, and I would like to recognize them. We have the Cebu Road Heroes promoting road sharing. We have the Base Camp Emergency Response Team, which is the first cycling response unit in the entire Philippines. They respond accidents, incidents in the road by cycling. So there are around 8 people who's doing now cycling all over Cebu City, responding to different accidents. So they were equipped with basic first aid and other things. So they are volunteers. And On the Road Fridays is a podcast where it advocates for sustainable mobility. It talks about biking, commuting, public transportation situation in Metro Cebu. And also we would like to highlight the mobility awards for the city. And this is our catch our country, to the city to participate, and we would like to insert, especially in the feedbacking session, because then again, there may be a lot of recommendations from us, but the influence is not there. So we need the help from the national organizations, if or international, the better, to really penetrate to the government and influence them. This is how we move, no? And how can we complement, how can we help you, how can we assist you? So basically, that's it for Cebu. And hopefully, this would be a good sharing for us all. And thank you for the invite, guys. Good morning.
Maraming salamat, Sir Elizar, and thank you for sharing Cebu Leads Foundation's initiatives, the very many initiatives of Cebu Leads. And we are actually very excited to know more about yung bike count and pedestrian count na gagawin nyo, as we are also looking for, of course, the importance of baseline data for active mobility. Sige po. Before I go to the next speaker, a short reminder lang po and an invitation for those viewing us via Facebook to join a short game for the chance to win a Mobility Award shirt and a face mask, as you see. So the question, the mechanics is very simple. Just comment below 3 features of a bicycle-friendly workplace. And later on, we'll announce po the top 5 answers from the comment section. So please feel free din po to tag a workplace if may alam po kayo. And of course, nominate them na rin if you would like. Ayun. So, okay, going back. Can we now have Councilor J for Iloilo City to share more about his advocacy and work in promoting active transport in Iloilo. Councilor J.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Yes.
Good morning. Medyo na pressure ako sa mga kasama natin kanina. I didn't know na there was going to be a presentation, so I tried to save us some photos to show you guys, because it's after the presentation of every panelist, it just shows na we are very visual types of people. And to get the point across, let me just open a page. Sorry. Ano ko lang. I'll be sharing just a few photos if that's okay. I'll try to share screen.
That's okay lang, Konsehal. Thank you po. While you're trying to set it up, ang masasabi ko lang, you know, all the panelists have been saying something similar, which is something that I hope everyone viewing will take to heart, no? Because everyone's been saying we're learning from the other cities and other leaders as well, and that's how generous the cycling community is. Generosity is what Iloilo is also showing, no? Because by showing the needs of the majority, that's generosity also. And you know, it's nice to have a local government official talk about generosity and democracy and the majority. What's happening in Iloilo po?
Thank you, Sir Red. Thank you, Sir Ed. As you can see, I just scrambled and tried to grab as many photos as I can of Iloilo City. This is now what you could see right next to the river is protected bike lane and also shared pedestrian walkway.
Yung pula?
Yes, yung pula, which is that encompasses the entire that's both both sides, Sir Red, that would be both sides of the Iloilo River will have this access. Pedestrians and cyclists will have access to this river. I'm sorry. Will have access to this, and this yung sa kabila, it's connected to the Capitolio. This is the Hall of Justice and the provincial capital. This is a beautiful view of our esplanade. On the right side, you could see that's a small parang skate park and some BMX. The younger ones, I can't jump sa BMX anymore, but they utilize that area. And on the main road, you could see, if you could see on the main road, both sides have bike lane. On the right side, you have the protected bike lane that was named on the Benigno Aquino Avenue. This is us during last year's World Carless Day, World Bike Day. Sorry, World Bicycle Day. This is me and my assistant chief of staff and my chief of staff, who we have converted from car drivers to cyclists.
Converted talaga, sir.
Converted, especially the assistant chief of staff, who realized that he was living relatively close to City Hall, and he was thinking of buying a car, and that we kind of talked him into getting a bike, because we are city bikers. I'm not really a long distance rider, but I promote cycling as a mode of transportation in the city, because it's really close, and sometimes you get there faster than a car because of the traffic. As we can see here are some of the problems that we have been facing. This is a green line. You can see it's a bike lane. That's part of the university loop that we created in 2016, I believe, with the help of attorney Tony Oposa and different cycling groups in Iloilo City. But you can see is the man in black wearing a PSTMO. That's a Public Safety Transport Management Office, which we continuously matigas lang talaga kasi yung ulo. That's why we need to have that solid communication with the organizations, like our representative from La Union said, na kailangan talaga if the voices of our cyclists are united, the people in government has no choice but to listen to us, because that is why we are here. That is why they are there. That's why we are here. And this problem was nakikita mo lang before sa Facebook, and I used to get tagged. Rather than replying to every single one, we suggested to create a Facebook page, and the people themselves became the watchdogs of the streets. And we added part of the Facebook group now is the head of the Transport Management Office, who captures and apprehends these people based on the ordinance that we passed on the University Loop bike lane. As you can see here, kinakarga sa likod ng truck as part of our ordinance na all public and private establishments should provide bike racks. As part of that, this became a project of our mayor. We got some local artists to paint and design these tracks, and they have been scattered all over the esplanade and bike lanes. You can see here, ako yung parang ninja, yung nakaite, all black helmet, and right next to me is Sir Rock Drilon, who has been helping us with the promotion. We biked from the esplanade. You can see this is me, and this is the pop-up. One of the problems that we had before was some people in certain positions didn't understand the concept of a bike lane. They thought that if you created, when we passed the University Loop bike lane, which interconnected multiple schools, not just universities, but high schools also, that they thought that was enough. There's already a place for bikes. Sinabi naman, and the people said, anong gagawin namin? Iikot-ikot lang kami sa University Loop. A bike lane is only effective if it is interconnected in the community. So to make it, it was an uphill battle. We were discussing this for since my first term in 2014, and now we have taken steps into. We have taken steps into interconnecting, bridging the small gaps between meron bike lane dito, meron bike lane dito. Let's connect them and make it effective. This photo is part of part of our annual bike festival partnered with Mega World. We have this every year, and we encourage people to dress up. This is me and my chief of staff. We were going around in a bike na nakaganito, and then we went on stage. No one knew who we were, and everyone was having fun. This was every year. Unfortunately, lang na postponed because of the pandemic. This is me with Sir Neri. We were biking in EDSA in 2014, I believe. This was the take. We were pushing for bike lanes and more walkable, more pedestrian access on EDSA. I was very fortunate enough to work with Attorney Oposa on this. And on the day itself, medyo nahirapan pa tayo from the commuter, from the bus, yung mga public utility sectors who didn't understand the concept of what we were doing. This, as you can see, is a photo of the inauguration of our bike lane, and former President Pinoy himself arrived. And during the pandemic, what we did was we saw that there were people who had no access to transportation, which was I saw an opportunity, and we tapped multiple organizations and individuals to create this program, which is a bike sharing program that gave bicycles to people who needed them for a certain period of time during the pandemic, especially during the first stages of the pandemic, when everything was in lockdown, no one had access to public transport, and that's when everyone started exploring how do we get around, how do we address mobility, how do we function on a day-to-day basis, and this really helped, and I really think this is also a community initiative. This was helped through Fitstop and the different bike stores in Iloilo City. Here we have a road sharing program. This is I was able to attend the East Bank Pasig River Carless Day, and because of that, when we came back, we proposed a pop-up bike lane. This was one of our first proposals before the bike lane was created. And then because of our continuous partnership with Mega World, GFNY saw it fit to hold their qualifying leg in Iloilo City. Here we can see even at night, that we have started creating and connecting more bike lanes. Sometimes it's just a matter of yung concept po namin before when we were starting is there were no bike lanes in the city. We had nothing. Walang bike lanes. If you were a cyclist on the road, you were looked at as a nuisance. And one of the things that we saw was when this road was being constructed, trees were being cut down, and the Iloilo City Council umiinit na. I mean, cutting trees was something that we put a stop on. We addressed it to the DPWH, and what happened was they can only extend half or 1.5 meters. Hindi kasya yung kotse, and they said, well, this is useless. And what we did was we worked with an engineer in Iloilo City and proposed, what if we utilize this portion na expand na and make it into a bike lane? And some people said na it's the busiest road in the city. People won't bike there because masasagasan and so many things could happen. But there's some old movie where What Dreams May Come na says na if you build it, they will come. And I really believe it. And that's the one thing that Attorney Oposa shared to me. And I believe that to be true. Now, if you build it, they will come. even if it's just a line, and then you just put a small of a cyclist, people naturally, even just drivers, naturally makikita mo they gravitate towards towards the center na hindi siya hitting the line. So that's what we call the magic line. And what we did also was, after we passed the ordinance for requiring establishments, some establishments did not have. Alam naman natin, maraming, like for example, SM City, SM, they're a big company and maraming chains of command that needs to get approved. And one of the things that we did was really push for the private sectors, especially in big malls, which were being frequented by our cyclists, to provide a safe parking for bikes, along with the guidelines of the ordinance. The ordinance states kasi na it has to be adjacent to an entrance, or it has to be close to the entrance and visible to security. They took it a step further and put in a bike repair stand, and they pushed back dati nasa likod to, and then the great thing with community communication through organization is we know how to address, we know what to address, and how to go about certain things. No, here is a copy of the ordinance, an executive order that created the Iloilo Bicycle Council, which includes the organizations na hindi all the organizations, cycling organizations in Iloilo City, which we also federated para mas mabilis yung usapan. Ika nga, no? And this is here's the ordinance for the creation of the University Loop, or the U Loop. Here you would see part of our I'm sorry, yun. And now you can see this is a proposed road infra project for 2021 to 2029, and these are all the bike lanes that we will be establishing for the next hopefully 10 years. And that's it. I believe, and thank you to everyone. Of course, this didn't happen again through just my effort. This is a joint effort from DPWH, DPWH, our mayor's office, and of course the community. It's one of the communities that started by Wilfredo C. iFold. Was actually one of it's a folding bike group that started it all. For me, it's one thing that started it all, because they had bike tours at night, iniikot sa city, and they could show how beautiful our city is. Our city is, of course, everyone's going to be biased about their city. Our city is so beautiful, especially at night. You could see it, especially yung mga heritage buildings, and if you can go around, it's different. It's like a different city at night as when you bike around during the day. And that's it. It's more on the people, and empowering the people, and letting them know na talagang nasa inyo yung power, reminding them and organizing them, because it does sometimes we just tell them, you organize kayo. But it's also part of our responsibility. It's a joint responsibility to address these problems. So thank you. I think that's that for my small presentation for this morning. Thank you, and good morning to everyone.
Councilor Jay, maraming salamat. Before I ask the next speaker to share a few of her words as well, just a small announcement and a small question also to you. No? A small announcement, obviously we're past our time engaged sa ating panelists. There's still a lot more questions coming our way. I think hindi ka naman dapat nag-aalala, konsehal, sa not showing enough pictures. I think the entire country is also watching the changes taking place in Iloilo. I guess the short question and maybe a 1 minute or 2 minute answer before we get back to you is, your first term began in 2014.
2013.
2013. And the things you're seeing on the ground now in Iloilo, was it something that you thought you imagined in 2012 or 2011? I mean, kasi ako, as someone who grew up and have been cycling, commuting in Metro Manila, I've been frequently saying that the changes I'm seeing now are probably changes I'd expect to see in the most ideal, optimal, hard to imagine way 10 years from now. Kahit na a decade from now, hindi ko pa rin ma-imagine na ito yung makikita ko, and yet it's already here. What's the mindset like in Iloilo?
Well, I believe Sir Red, no, na I focus again on the people. I didn't really come in politics thinking of advocating for cycling. I used to own a bar, which is counterproductive, you know. But I used to own a bar before running for politics, and my bar was relatively close to my house, and I didn't see the need to use a car because magastos, and I used my bike, and then we saw a lot of people started using their bikes, and then when the time came when I ran, end up na sa awa ng Diyos nanalo tayo. We got our first term. This was just something on the side that I was trying to advocate. This wasn't a major thing na I didn't see this to have a lot of support, because I've always been this has always been parang yung reception of the biking and the bike lanes were talagang met with hard heads that didn't understand that the roads are created for people and not for cars. So that's one thing that we had to change the mindset of the people. How we did that, I believe, was partnering with the local businesses. And after we partner with the local businesses, we try to address the problems. We passed the ordinance, and then kung may mga problema, we change it, because vocal naman kasi yung mga Ilonggo people. If you give it, the one thing siguro, just to shorten my answer, sir, is if you give the people a sense of ownership, you give the bike lane to the people, give them responsibility, give them a say, and then they will take ownership of that bike lane. When they take ownership of the bike lane, then it becomes sustainable.
Okay.
Thank you, Sir Red.
Those are really, really compelling answers, and also helps explain why we're seeing Iloilo today compared to what it was a decade ago. No, and I think that's one of the more important answers or responses. No, if you focus on people, you will get different results. Ito, natutuwa ako sa panelists natin. Si Elizar, hindi ko lang kung nakita mo yung comment niya, Consel J. Amazing, excited to visit Iloilo City again. And of course, everyone is invited to visit one another, because the things that you're all doing means that we all win. And so our next speaker, Nerissa Cabriadas from Davao, no? Na introduce siya ni Celine kanina. She's a business owner, a senior student. Marami ring ganap sa Davao, this is a chance to elaborate a little bit more. Nerissa, could you walk us through, quickly on the changes you're seeing and the changes you want to see in Davao in particular, because you also have a couple more questions to ask from our other panelists. Para lang maihanda kayo just before Nerissa comes in. Listening to the inputs, one challenge that I think you all commonly shared, and I'll ask you that shortly. Road expansion really entailed cutting a lot of trees. Pero active mobility, it seems to be the other way around. So baka, do you think there's a need to engage DPWH to put it into their guidelines na imbis na rather than cut trees, let's build bike lanes and pedestrian lanes around the trees and keep everything cool and happy and keep our trees as well. But we'll get back to you later. Nerissa muna. Ikaw naman, Nerissa.
So, hello sir. Actually, dito sa Davao, before nagka-pandemic, walang... Wait, okay na sir. Before nagka-pandemic dito sa Davao, actually, wala pa talagang mga proper biking po dito sa Davao. So, nung nagka-pandemic na, so marami na pong active mobility po na naganap, which is because yung mga public transportation kasi limited lang yung mga passengers. So, yun, na bigyan ng pansin ng LGUs yung mga active bikers, yung mga bike to works na mga empleyado. So, ngayon, yung Davao, meron na po kaming mga bike lanes po dito, bago lang po, na pinagawa po. So, pwede po mag-share.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Oh. Nakikita mo po?
Yep.
Yan
Proceed.
po. Yes po. Yan po yung bike lanes po namin dito. Bago lang po yan na implement po ng aming LGUs dito po. So nakikita nyo po dito sa slide ko po, yan po. May boxes po dyan sa intersection. Kumbaga, dyan po na boxes, dyan po yun pwesto yung mga bikers para po yung mga jeepney tsaka mga public transportation, makita po agad sila for safety measures po. So, yun po. And, ano pa?
Go ahead.
So, sa aming organization po, hindi lang po kami mga active mobility na mga grupo po na unite sa isang organisasyon. Meron po kami mga advokasya na ginagawa, which is to serve the community, sir. And ang unang program namin na nagawa is food feeding nga, at saka yung mga nasunugan, and we help them po na maano po sila, ma-assist sa kanilang mga needs. And then po nung mga nakaraan, para po sa environmental awareness, nag-volunteer po lahat yung aming mga groups of cyclists na para po sa International Coastal Cleanup po nung naganap nung September 18. Yan po. Yun po yung aming organisasyon na Unica.
Maraming salamat, Ms. Nerissa.
Thank you po.
Thank you so much. Tanong ko lang po, kailan po nag-start yung Unicas? During...
Bago lang po, during the pandemic po, last 2020 po, mga February 6.
I see po.
Yeah, kaya bago lang po kami. So, as you can see, di pa po ako masyadong, parang, ko po.
No po, Ms. Nerissa, actually important po na lahat tayo kasama sa involved sa mga discussions like this. And we are very happy po to have you here and for taking the time po to join us today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you po.
Okay, just to, Sir Ed, just to get back siguro po sa inyong question about hello?
Yes, yes. We can hear you.
Yeah, sige. Yes, Sir Ed, balikan po siguro natin yung question nyo on DPWH and the issue on cutting more trees.
Yep. We can hear you. So siguro as you're dealing with technical challenges, Celine, let me ask Elizar and Dominic as well if they have some views on this. Kasi kapag nasa car-dominated mode tayo, usually road construction is meant, because it's meant for cars, we end up cutting so many trees, which actually provide not just a shade, but a far better cooling infrastructure for our pedestrians and cyclists. Hindi lamang yung mga nagbibisikleta, pero lalo na yung majority who walk to work as well. Have you had any discussions on this? Do you think DPWH should be engaged from the level of Cebu and from the level of Naga City? And what do you think the prospects are? Or have you already begun talking to them directly? Elizar?
Thank you for that question, Sir Ed. It's a good question, and I think it's a common problem, not just in Cebu City, but major cities in the Philippines, including Metro Manila, Metro Naga, and even Metro Iloilo. How we plan things out. It's really car-centric type of approach, and fortunately, I'm with a group of young guys and women who is really thinking to give back the street to people. Here in Cebu, talking for Cebu's Foundation, what we did is we have this. We are currently the research arm of the Metro Cebu Development and Coordinating Board. It's somewhat MMDA in Manila, but it's a coordinating body. We come up with a roadmap plan for Metro Cebu until 2050. That roadmap became references of Metro Cebu LGUs in terms of their CLUP, in terms of their DRM, and that also serve as references to NGAs such as TPWH, because we don't have DOTR here in Cebu. Basically, the roadmap provides an idea what should be the road looks like, because TPDLs have their own standard. But what's Metro Cebu's recommendation? As we have this roadmap as our reference in all the plans for Metro Cebu. Unfortunately, since this is an initiative both from the private and the public sector, and as we know, mayors come and go. There are instances that the mayor would not support the program itself. No? I think you've heard this. He is not supported, but but our take is that's okay. I mean, again, mayors come and go, so we'll continue the project, and we constantly engage not just with the government but also national government agencies. In fact, our role here in Cebu's Foundation, every time there's an election, we prepare, we make ourselves guapo, so that the time there is now new leaders, we need to go court them again to support the program, courting again to support the roadmap, because that's really the goal. I mean, how would you know that it will be effective unless it would be supported with a budget? So that's the overall target of the foundation. So we go back to the roadmap. We go back to the master plan. Oh, this is the master plan. Can we follow this? And if they're not following it, discuss it on the RDC level, even to the congressional level, even to the national level. If we can bring that discussion to the secretary level, then that's it. And there are instances in our project that we directly discuss it to the secretary himself, no? Secretary of DPWH, which some of it came productive. No? We have now a master plan for flooding, which became the reference now of addressing flooding in Metro Cebu. So it's not just Cebu City, it's really entire Metro Cebu, because then again, Metropolitan needs to be connected, the value of interconnection, interconnectivity, and not just flooding and even roads. So in relation to cutting out trees, it's a constant battle, because it's not just DPWH that you're dealing with, it's also with the mayor and a lot of leaders that is involved, including barangay captain. So the convincing factor, the courting factor must be there. So yeah, and it's happening here. But we call it a good struggle, because, and we don't stop struggling. We don't stop hustling for this, because that's what we want. We want to see a livable and competitive Cebu. If not today, at least 3 years or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now. We don't know, but that's our goal. That's our aim in the foundation.
Elizar, thank you very much. No, the things you're seeing from in Cebu right now, are they a surprise to you, or medyo you were expecting this, or are you inspired by what you're seeing as well in other places and also in Cebu? How would you characterize the responses of people so far to the work that you're doing in particular?
Yeah, for Cebu, we had this discussion with the cycling group last of August 23. Because the ordinance of Cebu City in terms of biking has been passed 2014, but it's not implemented. It's I think one of the first ordinances that was passed in the Cebu Island itself and became the reference of some LGUs here in Cebu. So it was not implemented, number one, because there's no bike lanes, no, and there's no demand for it. So the biking community is just okay. There's no bike lane, but when the pandemic happens, that's now became a demand, the need for bike lane. So when they implement bike lanes in Cebu, it's somewhat new for everybody. New, especially for the car owners, especially for the pedestrian. As you know, we don't have good sidewalks here in Cebu. So that became an extension sidewalk for pedestrian. So it became a new thing, no, in Cebu. And there were a point of time that the discussion were very hot, that they really somewhat throw all bad words, all negative words, parallel is additional corruption for the government. So what we did a feedbacking session with all the cyclists, leisure groups, and even the pedestrian community. And the good thing is, it's just really a means of communication, setting it down, can we talk, and conversing it, being the Cebu Leads Foundation as the facilitator. And somehow we come up to the point, okay, it's a good project, let's support this. I mean, and it's now the tradition of the Cebu Bike Lane Board to have at least a monthly consultation meeting with not just the bike enthusiasts, not just with the biking community, but also to the pedestrians, because that's what the bike lane board sees. No? That's why they want also to look at the sidewalk in Cebu City. So it's not just
monthly, monthly.
Yep, monthly. That became a monthly now, a tradition of bike board. And in fact, one of the things that the bike board would like to check is to come up with an organization of cycling group. Parang because there are a lot of groups here in Cebu. So we want them to be organized. And we want them to elect their leaders so that the bike board will talk with their officers alone. Because it's very difficult to huddle 50 bike groups in one Zoom, no? And to listen to them, it takes a day. So that's why we need to organize them and come up with a group, elect their officers and talk to them. And possible, there is also an opening them to become a member of the Cebu Bike Lane Board.
I see.
I became the Cebu Bike Lane Board in behalf of the civil society organization, NGOs. But it would be good if we have a group of bike enthusiasts, biking community in the board. So that's now the direction of the board after that August 23 consultation feedbacking session, the different groups and pedestrians.
Elizar, thank you. Same thing, I'll challenge you and including Councilor Jay and Nerissa earlier. Isa pa lang ang nag-nominate ng workplace sa city, no? Maybe you can encourage other citizens groups to also nominate workplaces, no? Si Celine, tanungin ko mamaya kung sino yung mga nanalo uli na workplace o sino yung mga na-nominate at ano yung nakita natin dun sa Metro Manila Awards last year. I'm really sure maraming even more deserving in Cebu and Iloilo, in Davao, Naga City. I will ask you, Dominic, and in San Juan, kay Christina, no? Something that you should also easily potentially surpass, no? Walang nagbingo dun sa awards last year na one city is also the city one, but also business establishments one in that city and workplaces. At most, dalawa yung nakuha ng isang city. And that is, I think, Pasig, no? Yung nanalo sa workplace was also Medical City, pero yung business establishment one in another part of Metro Manila. So baka naman makatatlo, no? Yung isa sa mga syudad. Pero ikaw naman, Dominic, any words to add? And then I'll ask you, Christina.
With regard, doon pa sa ano, sa topic ng tree cutting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dito sa amin yung naging direction namin is to convene the bike port and make a technical working group on how to integrate yung DPWH 88-2020 sa plano. But apparently yung DPWH kasi late na nagawa yung TWG. So way back in March, I think, or so nag-issue na ay nag-apply na for special tree cutting permit ng 71 trees sa isang sa Del Rosario, Naga City, yung DPWH. So what we did since nandiyan na yan, so was to look for other organizations like the United Architects of the Philippines na mag-integrate ng design na kasama yung puno at yung naka-specify doon sa DPWH 88-2020. So yun yung medyo nakikita kong kulang sa engagement sa DPWH, yung sa planning ng mga district and up to siguro regional level ng DPWH. Hindi nakaka-skate yung DPWH order 88-2020 kasi clearly na naman doon na naka-specify na yung specifications ng bike lanes as mandated by the Special Provision 23 under the GAA. So 2021. So yun yung siguro mas kailangan bigyan ng pansin namin dito sa Camarines Sur upang talagang magkaroon ng designs na nandyan na. Kasi ang naging problema is yung plano na ginawa ng DPWH, as in wala naka-integrate na mga puno. So yun yung challenge sa amin. Kaya nitong nitong September, talagang nahihirapan kami na magkaroon ng middle ground. So but yesterday during the Sangguniang Panglungsod session, at least nagkaroon kami ng allies in the councilors na stop muna and then pag-usapan sa City Development Council yung direction moving forward, kasi this pandemic really highlighted the importance of sustainable mobility. So kasi nasa documents na mismo ng Naga City government sa CLUP and ecological plan that for years our city has been has a weakness in non-motorized transport and not investing in these forms of transportation, and nag-worsen pa doon yung CFCs na dinudulot ng transportation kasi nga car-centric mindset, and then yung ibang pagtingin ng lawmakers dati is parang dichotomy, yung pag-preserve ng puno is against development, which is not naman talaga. So you can integrate yung sustainable design na nandiyan yung mga puno, and then at the same time nandiyan pa rin yung development, kasi yan yung medyo hindi noon na bibigyan pansin. At masaya kami na ngayong taon meron ng pinangahawakang dokumento, at least yung DPWH 88-2020 na talagang pag present namin sa DPWH, may pagbabasihan na silang design na galing mismo sa kanilang departamento na hindi na wala noong 2017 kung kailan nagkaroon ng tahasang pagputol talaga ng puno sa along the Magsaysay Road doon. Kaya pag na-adopt yung design namin, so it's a big win for us. Kasi ang pinupush talaga kasi ng DPWH is magkaroon ng four lane na carriageway yung mga national highways. So siguro tulad ng experience sa Iloilo, kung hindi kaya talaga yung 20 meters na carriageway, so yung outer 2 lanes na hinihingi ng DPWH, i-convert na lang into either ano ng bicycle lane at motorcycle lane. Kasi based sa ano yan, sa data naman, marami ng siklista and then marami ding motorcycle vehicles na talagang nando na dito na sa ating mga kalsada. So, yun. So, yun lang yung insistence ng DPWH na kailangan 20-meter carriageway. Dapat yung mindset na yon hindi lang para sa kotse, dapat meron ding dedicated talaga for pedestrians, bike lanes, and even motorcycles, at least doon sa 2 outer lanes kasi not all national highways can cater to that 20 meters carriageway.
Okay. Salamat, Dominic. Christina, what about from your end? We have very little time left, but maybe you can share something really quickly.
Okay, one thing that I figured out after the 4 years that I've been dealing with DPWH projects and the same issue with yung Sanaga and Cebu, kasi sabay-sabay tayong pinutulan ng puno is that while sinasabi nila na yung DPWH follows yung four carriageways, it's actually based on a 1950 something law that they want to extend. Nasa RA siya na dapat lahat ng kalye natin ganun. Now, one of the things that not a lot of people know is that before a project is actually approved anywhere, kahit DPWH project yan, kahit private resort yan, or private establishment or private project, it has to go through the local government unit. Kailangan may signature ng barangay, kailangan may signature ni mayor, and then kung malaking project siya, kailangan may signature ng governor. Now, yung signatures ni barangay, ni mayor, ni governor should represent yung sentiment ng tao, not the sentiment of DPWH or DENR. So when you're talking about tree cutting, ang nag-issue ng permit ng tree cutting is not just DPWH, it's actually DENR. DENR said na, sige, putulin niyo yung puno na yan. So when you collaborate with them, initially, nagmamakaawa din kami para sa puno. In fact, na ano kami na, we love the trees so much, ganyan. That we don't want development. Yun pa yung sinabi sa amin. Kakaloka siya. But actually, may technical dyan. Legislatively, if dumaan ba yung project sa public scoping, yun yung number one. And during the public scoping, nag-agree ba lahat ng mga tao, yung community, nag-agree ba sila na puputulin yung puno for this particular project? It is a 1950 project. Hindi pa nga din i-revise yan kalye lang yung tinitignan nila. So actually, pwede siyang i-technical. Kasi a lot of these projects did not go through public scoping.
Okay.
It did not go to through the legal process. You ask, nagtataka nga ako kasi yun yung problem namin before. It was when we got environmental lawyers, when we got a lawyer involved, dun lang naging malinaw lahat na for any project, whether it's government or not, it has to go through public scoping, public consultation 3 times before it is approved. Kasi during that public consultation, kukunin na dapat yung inputs. But a lot of these projects don't go through that. Nakakagulat kasi wala silang perma. Kaya wala silang perma ni mayor, wala silang perma ni barangay. Walang nangyari na public hearing, which is dapat invited lahat tayo before nila makuha yung ordinance or yung approval, yung executive order na we approve this project. Walang ganun na nangyayari. And that's something as the private sector, as regular citizens, that it's something that we should know, number one, na dapat ka-involved tayo. So yung sinasabi na wala ka nang magagawa dun sa project kasi may pirma na siya, it's not true. We can do something about it, but we do need to attend all those public hearings. It takes time, and they would really try to tell you na wala ka nang magagawa. It's really, actually, on one end, it's psychological warfare na wala tayong magagawa, tayo nagbabayad. Tayo, basically, yung sa atin kasi, yung project na yan, binayaran ng taxes natin. 'Di ba? So, effectively, pag natuloy yung project na yan, tayo yung nagpaputol ng puno.
Okay.
Yun. So, that's it. So,
Thank you, Christina. No, si Celine will, we're over time again. I think very engaged discussion. Celine also will be announcing the winners to the contest for this call. But I'd like to ask the views of Councilor J. No, kasi I think it's normal to have a lot of friction and tension right now, given that as the sentiment for paying more attention to the needs of the majority rises. No? Those who haven't really examined their own setup are having a hard time dealing with it, and I'm referring to the car owners, no? Because sometimes, I know a lot of car owners, and if you give them a little bit more room to talk things through and you show them what the facts are, they get surprised. Kasi the assumption is that everyone is a car owner and it's all okay. And then when they realize, halimbawa for Metro Manila, 12% lang na households ang may-ari ng sasakyan, then they understand bakit sinasabi na why are we prioritizing the needs of the minority, no? And then we talked about trees as well, and this is one of the things that si Deputy Speaker Legarda had been stressing. Sabi ni former Senator Lauren Legarda, hindi pwedeng bike lanes lang kasi yun ay mahalaga, pero paano sila magiging malamig at paano sila protektado, at in a way na maganda pa rin ang syudad natin. You also mentioned earlier you don't do long distance biking, and I understand that, but it's something that also needs reminding to everyone. Pag ikaw ay recreational cyclist, that's great. Pero the advocacy we're running right now is not necessarily for you. Kasi ang needs ng recreational cyclists are very different from what the needs are of cycling commuters. Kasi ang cycling commuters ayaw ng mahaba, mas maikli at mas direct, mas maganda. Whereas ang recreational cyclists, gusto natin lagi ang scenic route, mas mahaba, mas maganda. And so very different the needs. Hindi kailangan magbangga, pero right now this campaign, especially the Mobility Awards, is about cycling commuting as well. We're out of time, but we will find time for Councilor J. DPWH ba mahirap kausap sa Iloilo? Are you all looking at the same direction now? And what are the plans with regard to trees? And finally, makakaasa ba kami na you will also ask your constituency to get more nominations for workplaces in Iloilo City? Because I'm sure hindi lang local government ang tumatrabaho, nagre-respond din ang mga offices. And I think you also said all establishments are required now to have their own facilities. Councilor J.
Yes, thank you, Sir Ed. With regards to the establishments, I think a lot of the establishments now are just upgrading because they notice that their employees are now riding in bicycles. There's a huge influx of cyclists in the city of Iloilo. So tamo po yun. It's really the I sound redundant by saying it's really the people, but when it is really the people. Kasi without the backing of the people, and like what Sir Elizar said earlier, nagpapapogi kasi election, which is perfect. This is the perfect time for every single one of our organizations to be loud. It is the perfect time because this is the time when politicians listen. And if we can organize what we did, just to share with organizing 50 or so. We have 200 or so cycling groups here in Iloilo City, not just in Iloilo City, but we also count those in the province, because I believe that we live in a symbiotic relationship naman with the province, na hindi lang yung i-organize namin yung dito. If they ride here in the city, we organize them. We make them a part. We give them a say, because they will be traversing our city streets. Now, what we did was we had this, I mentioned our partnership with Mega World, and we have this annual bike festival. What we did during the first infancy stages of the bike festival was we took it as a chance to get the names of the organizations, of the different cycling organizations, and then after that we created the Iloilo Cycling Bicycle Council, and then we invited all of them. It was a one-time thing, but they were already there. It was a bike festival, so they were already there. Presidents, their representatives were there, and then on the spot we did the Federated Iloilo Cycling Organization, or FICO, and created a federated cycling organization so that we can better communicate. It's difficult, of course, like what Sir Elizar said. It's difficult to talk to 200 or so cycling groups, but if they are organized and they have, tama po kayo, Sir Red, yung mga cyclists and the people who own cars, they have the same mindset naman. They will understand that the road, kasi we're just here. We're sometimes kasi those in cars, you just see the road as a means to an end. Parang your point A to point B, and in the blur, andun ka na. But if you're on a bike, in every curve, in every bump, in every corner, meron kang makikita. You see the sidewalk. You see some problems. You see the problem, even kahit yung poste. So sometimes when what I do is before ako na as we do I bike Fridays. I bike to work on Fridays. And to promote it, what we did was there was a reserve parking with every councillor's name to prove my point while passing the ordinance for the city for the car park for the bike racks. It wasn't really accepted by establishments. Hindi naman marami yung cyclists, ganon. So what I did was yung ginawa lang natin was very simple. The bike parking, which had my name, nilagay ko yung I bike to work that day, nilagay ko yung foldy ko, and I instructed yung how many cyclists are working in Iloilo City, let them park in my parking spot, and let's see how many people talaga yung nagcycle sa City Hall. That's why I say it's the people. The people is our strength. The people is our data. And marami po kayo, especially to Ma'am Christine sa La Union. I know a lot of people there who I actually know some of your members who are very loud and very active. They just moved there, and they are very active and very much willing to improve on La Union. They are so in love with LU. They actually moved na from Makati to there, and a lot of businesses actually. I actually have roots. Malawarca. I have roots in La Union also. So when I visited there, I saw even maraming ring cyclists, but wala siyang bike lanes nga. But that is also the same in Guimaras. There is no bike lane, but there is a common respect between motorists and cyclists. So it means that we can live in a symbiotic in a world where cyclists and motorists share the road.
Great. That a perfect way to wrap up our program today. I wish you all can stay a little bit longer, because si Celine will be making some announcements, including our obligatory photo op. One reminder na lang uli sa lahat na nandito, if you can spread the word, get more nominations to your cities and business establishments, and in particular yung workplace, no? Because we need to recognize in a workplace, whether you're a national government, I think si Celine will tell us also sino yung nanalo last time at bakit sila nanalo. As someone who likes a particular subject now, I also hope you can promote not just interconnected bicycle lanes networks with Cebu siguro, and then in the Bicol region and also in the north of the country, but also if you can you can promote history cycling tours as well. Kasi as Councilor Jay had said, pag nasa bisikleta ka, marami kang makikita na hindi mo makikita kapag nasa sasakyan ka. And when you have more carless spots or more cycling and walking friendly infrastructure, mas nagtathrive ang commerce. Kasi yung business dinadaanan ng mga nakakotse, lalampasan ka lang eh. Pero kapag naglalakad ng mga tao, nagbibisikleta, madaling huminto, and there's always something new to see, and there's always new people to meet and to greet as well. Having said that, step back na ako. Celine, ikaw na.
Yes, thank you, Sir Red. And unfortunately, ito lang po ang time natin for today. But thank you so much for our speakers for joining us today. And it's very encouraging to have champions in the government and especially in civil society groups working together to create more bike-friendly cities in the Philippines. So before we end the discussion, siguro i-flash lang po namin yung mga nanalo from our game earlier. Yeah. Ayan. So we have the winners na, the top 5, which is the first place is Taksay Barbin and Jason Villeza, Archie Tolentino, Giselle Antabanyag Ompoy, and finally we have Angelica Lirio Gorom. Congratulations po, and please send us a message in our Facebook page para po ma-claim ang inyong mga prizes. Maraming salamat po for tuning in. And of course, again, we would like to remind everyone to nominate their most bike-friendly cities. Last year po ang nanalo dito ay si Pasig, si San Juan, and then Marikina. And please also vote for your favorite bike-friendly establishments. Mapa-coffee shop man yan, mapa-mall, o maliliit na restaurants. And also, of course, please vote for your bike-friendly workplaces. If kayo po ay nag-bike to work at lang po mga offices ay may mga bike racks at pina-prioritize po ang mga siklista, mga employees nilang siklista, please, we encourage you to nominate them para naman po we can give back the love to our employers and to the businesses who are promoting and supporting active transport. So maraming salamat po. And lastly, before we end, we would just like to plug in na magkakaroon po kami ulit ng another webinar on October 6, which will tackle naman po cycling and green and cycling towards green economies, and we will be inviting organizations and people who are using cycling as part of their business operations. This is happening on October 6 po. And again, maraming salamat po for tuning in. We appreciate you taking the time today to learn more, and I hope marami po natutunan ng ating mga viewers sa ating mga speakers for today. Maraming salamat po. Sir Ed?
Okay na ako. Magpo-photo pa ba? Hindi na?
Yes, after this. After we close the Facebook Live. Maraming salamat po sa lahat.
Yeah. Well, we're out of time, and palagay ko diretso na tayo sa sa ating photo ops, because right now it's just a final reminder, on behalf of all our colleagues with the Mobility Awards, good to mention Climate Reality Project, Manila Moves, 50.org Pilipinas, at ang Pinay Bike Commuter Community. Of course, with our partners, the League of Cities Philippines, and the 25 regional partners of the Mobility Awards. Maraming salamat po uli sa inyong lahat. Nominate po, mag-nominate, mag-nominate. So, kung munang aalis ang lahat, Celine, ikaw na mag 1, 2, 3 sa kodakan.
Okay, sige po.